Welcome to the city of the unwritten. A city that's given so much. A city of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. A city of makers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. A city of laughter, memories, and people who will welcome others in with a cup of heartwarming handmade coffee. A city of people, young and old, working together. People who explore, live, and grow together. But what makes this place special? Being listed year after year as one of the best places to raise a family. Maybe because we have a community recognized for its safe neighborhoods and revered for its low unemployment. A city where adventure is everywhere you look, where you can pioneer your own story. We've opened a new page to write on for the generations ahead. Welcome to Bismarck. Come write your story.
Heard the cackling, but I forgot to get this, and they just threw it at me, but I caught it, and I was really proud of myself. Welcome to 1MC, where we definitely have our stuff together. My name is Kayla. I will be guiding you today. We were just talking, and I was here about a month ago emceeing for the author panel, and so we're going to be talking about, writing again today. So like a deadline, I'm here sooner than expected. Okay, forward. Is it on? It says it's on. Okay, well, anyway, if you're a newcomer, are you a newcomer? Raise your hand. Anybody? We won. A 2. Yay, 2! We did it! Okay, so even if you have been here before, we want to keep track of that. So we have this handy-dandy app. You get it in the App Store. It's a free thing. Go ahead and check in so we know that you're here, and we can keep track of all your things. Yep, get it downloaded. There you go. I like when the newbies listen to me. It makes me feel powerful. All right. Here's our sponsors. Can I get a what for our sponsors? Thank you, yes. A what. So without these guys, we wouldn't be able to do anything. Can I get an ow for our new sponsor? Yes, we're very happy to welcome Bismarck State College, the Polytechnic people, to help us out with this little shindig. What is this thing? That's what I said. What is it? It is 1 Million Cups. We're a free weekly program that gives local businesses and nonprofits and people with cool ideas to come together, to talk about their idea. We throw other ideas at them. It's a great time for all. Am I controlling this? No? Okay. I'm never in control. All right, the big takeaway. Can we change the face of our community by connecting over some cups of coffee? You saw it out there. We had medium. We had bold. We have iced. All kinds of coffee, all kinds of ideas. It's a great time for everyone. Okay, I'm ready for, this one. So we have questions at the end. We're going to have a cool Q&A portion. If you want to ask your questions in person, we have this giant mug, so you can't hide. And then you're a runner? Okay, cool. Good to know these things. And then, so we have one person who just runs around in here. It's kind of fun. And if you're too shy, that's okay. You can tweet us with #1MCND, and we will have someone. They're negotiating here. Okay, they'll figure it out. Or we can have a fight. Okay, no fighting in the auditorium. I think that's in our contract. Do we have any community announcements? I'll give you a microphone. This one. Lakin, I can always trust you for a community announcement. Yes.
Come on, guys. There we go. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Lakin Ani. I'm Program Director for the North Dakota Women's Business Center, and I've got a couple of events coming up that I wanted to visit with you about. First and foremost is Core Women with Marissa Nielsen. This is for any female professional, female business owner, anybody looking to grow. So she is going to join us to give us tangible steps on how to get to where you are, or from where you are to where you want to go. These tickets are $25. You can find them on Eventbrite or at ndwbc.com/events. September 16th is when we'll have Marissa, and super excited for her. I'm sorry, Adam, it was distracting. There he is.
What has he got?
Batteries.
Oh, you keep going.
Okay, Tyler, will you advance the slide, please? Thank you. This is the really exciting one. Marissa's very exciting. She's also going to be at this event. The Women's Business Summit is coming back to you October 28th. It's going to look a little bit different. We were virtual last year because of COVID, and this year we are going to be held at the North Dakota Heritage Center and State Museum. So, Maha Bodhi is pictured there. She's going to be our keynote. She's got an inspiring story, and then she's also going to stick around for VIPs and sponsors for a special 1-hour training on the high productive mind. High productive mind? Great. You can find more information on Maha and our Women's Business Summit at ndwbc.com/events. Tickets are also live and available on Eventbrite. These are limited, though, so if you decide you want to come and join us for a day of information, inspiration, and connection, snag your tickets now. And they're about half the price they used to be. So we wanted to make it more affordable for those who might have struggled during COVID or, want to learn and don't have as large a budget for personal and professional development. We are here for you. We heard you, and we're coming at you October 28th.
Yay! Any other announcements? You don't need a slide, but you do need batteries. There were no batteries in this, and that's why it didn't work. We run on coffee, we run on batteries, and this tiny piece of tape that holds us all together. Okay, anyone else? Announcements? Okay, I'm gonna do a quick little show and tell, because as writers, we're supposed to show, not tell. You see what I did there? Yeah, thank you for that wry little thing. Okay, so I just got back from a family trip, and we stopped at every antique store. I'm a little bit of a book collector, so I'm gonna show you some of the things God, you guys should smell this. It is so musty. I'm a bad person because I do judge books by their cover. We got A Brave New World. I already have 3 copies of this, but not this version. Very exciting. We have The Rebel Culture. We got some anthologies from our hippie friends. Look at the side green paper. Oh, I love a green page. 3 Men in a Boat. If you want to giggle, you got to read some Jerome K. Jerome. Look at this. It is the tri-panel penguin. I was shaking when I got back to the car with this. Pam, are you watching? She's in the Suburban with the Chihuahua. I was just like, Mom. We got some Norman Mailer. Great cover. Oof. Some Nancy Mitford. I've never actually read The Pursuit of Love, but in grad school, one of my roommates was obsessed with this book, and I specifically never read it because I didn't want to get caught in a conversation. But for $1, I can be very spiteful. Look at this, I have it. What else we got? Oh, okay, so this guy, Milton Glaser, recently died. You've definitely seen his work. He designed the I Heart New York logo and a very famous Bob Dylan poster. It's like a silhouette, and there's all this crazy colors. But he was also a prolific book cover designer, and I'm like, if I'm gonna get any Shakespeare, I'm gonna get the Milton Glazers. I found 3 of them in Duluth, just hanging out in Duluth. So excited. And actually, it was his cover that got me started. I had the penguin version that he designed for Rabbit Run, but then I found this one. I don't have this one yet, so then I have to get this one. And as you can see, this is a lot of dudes. Is anyone surprised? No, we're not surprised. So then you have to go a little bit more modern if you want some cool covers. So I've got some essay anthology. That's a nice one. I haven't read this yet. I haven't read any of these yet. A couple of them, but in different versions. Oh, good cover, some cultural thing. Anything with teeth on it. I will buy anything with a tooth on it. It doesn't matter what genre it is. Don't ask me why. It's a long story. So you guys really should smell these when you come up here. There's probably something in them. I don't fumigate or anything. I just let my apartment smell like that. So as you can see, there's a big mix between art and words and people who like art and words. And that's why we have two very special folks with us today. I'm going to read their bios. So we have Justin Cancilliere. Okay. Justin loves telling stories, led by mythical dreams and astounding visions that can only be described through writing. He is in the business of scripting legends. His desire is to bring to life that which swarms in his mind and cascades into words. He is also the founder and executive director of the BisMan Writers Guild. He and the board of directors strive to uphold the mission statement of the Guild. Logo, hey, I see 3 shirts in the front row. If you've got the shirt on, say, it's me. Yeah, I can make them say anything. I really like this. All right, we also have with us Michelle Thomas. She's a Canadian-born U.S. citizen who graduated from the University of North Dakota. Native to the North, she lives in the upper Midwest to this day. Yeah, stay here, don't leave us. Science fiction and fantasy are her preferred genres, but nevertheless, she's a hopeless romantic, and her work often shows it. She writes young adult fiction that is often full of adventure, so when looking for your next story to immerse yourself in, look up other works from her. Michelle is also the president of the BisMan Writers Guild. So, art, creativity, words, community, people with very niche interests. That's the BisMan Writers Guild, so come on up. One for you, one for you. Tell us a story. Oh, do you want this? You press, it has batteries now, so you just press that button when you're ready.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, come on, we can do better than that. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to Jurassic, oh, wrong pitch, sorry. I am Justin Cancilliere, as Kayla said. I am the executive director of the BisMan Writers Guild. Growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, I always had an affiliation with the arts, music, writing, painting. I loved it all. I was in music for a very long time, and I started writing at a very young age. When I got to Bismarck, I indie published my first book, the legendary creature project, The Griffin, in 2017. And as I was doing book signings and going to the library for BizCon and meeting these other writers from our community, I thought to myself, you know, I need to find a writing group. I could not find a writing group that fit my needs, so the BisMan Writers Guild was born in 2019. We had a handful of members at that time, and we slowly grew into what we are today. In 2020, we incorporated into a nonprofit organizations to uplift North Dakota writers. I pride myself that the BisMan Writers Guild is an all-inclusive group. We have poets, we have non-fiction writers, we have script writers. It's an all-inclusive group to uplift everybody. This is my president, Michelle Thomas, and she's going to help us walk through our presentation today.
So my name is Michelle Thomas.
Whoops, power button. There we go.
I write under the name MT Thomas.
Oh, there. Good.
So let's talk about our mission. Our goal in the BisMan Writers Guild is to uplift local writers all throughout North Dakota. We do this by
All right, go ahead. There we go.
We do this by promoting, advancing, and supporting them. And we do this through workshops, through write-ins, and by shedding light on the wonderful talent that we have in this state. So let's talk about Justin a little bit. We have Justin Cancilliere. He's our executive director. You've all met him. He's talked a little bit about his books. They're really great. I've read them. We have 2 so far. He's written The Worm and The Griffin.
Speaking of great artwork, by the way.
Oh yeah, who was your
That was by Brian Bowden. He's from New York. He also
Cover
designed
artist.
both of our anthologies.
Next is me. I'm the president, Michelle Thomas. You've all met me. So I was born in Canada, and I graduated from UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences. I work as a scientist, actually, night shift. And so I like to say that I'm a scientist by night and a writer by day. Now we have Nick. Nick is the vice president, and he is a poet. He is a published poet. He's a couple things out, but here's one of them. Kaleidoscope Nights. You can get it from Barnes & Noble. He's a great poet. He also does his own group, Big Nick Poetry, and he teaches poetry workshops for the BisMan Writers Guild. We have the lovely Tina Holland. She is a romance author, and she also teaches a class on how to edit and market your self-published books and how to look into traditional publishing if that's the avenue that you would like to take. We have Catherine Pendergast, but you guys would know her as Cat Socks. She wrote the Pickles the Dog series. Your kids might know her better than you do. She is a wonderful children's book author, and she also does a children's book writing workshop for the BisMan Writers Guild.
I also didn't put them in the slides, but we do have 3 great directors at large as well, Shelley Saylor, Stephen Von Hayden, and Clayton Snyder.
So we do projects every month. We've always got something going on. One of the things we do is write-ins. This is a great way for writers to get together, to bounce ideas off of each other, to look at each other's work in progresses, give each other's critiques, and also just to have a sense of community with other writers, people who are like-minded. We host monthly meetings. This is a great opportunity for us to let our members know what we're doing that month, what we're doing in the future, what we've got in the works. And another thing, one of my favorite things that we do during our meetings is that we ask our members what their goals are, and then we encourage them to complete their goals. We bring it up at the next meeting and help everybody be the best person they can be and be the best writer they can be. Let's talk a little bit about the workshops. I'm actually a huge fan of these workshops because I teach a couple of them. Here we have Tina's Fears class, and we have some that are on marketing, because even if you're traditionally published, you're going to be marketing your own book. A lot of people don't know that, but if you want to publish, you're going to be marketing.
Michelle, what does FEAR stand for?
Oh, finish, edit, analyze, research, and submit. We do workshops on self-publishing. We have some amazing self-published artists, some self-published authors who have really made a name for themselves and without the help of a publisher. And we have them here in the BisMan Writers Guild teaching workshops, teaching everybody else how to do the same. We do workshops on character development, because nobody can be an expert at everything, and there's a lot of tropes and a lot of characters, and we want to make sure that you can research the characters for your books, or for your short stories, or for your personal writings, or for anything else really, and so there's a little bit there for everybody. We do some other things too. We do a bunch of different workshops. We've got workshops on screenwriting, on script writing, I should say, not screenwriting, and on how to write, like how to show and not tell, and how to plot the structure of your novel, and everything, really.
Thank you, Kayla, for doing the show, not tell, so we had a little thing
lead into that. So here's our website. You guys can see what we're doing. You guys can log on there. Here's our Facebook group. If you want to be a member of the Writers Guild, if you're a writer, even if you're not a published author, even if you never want to be a published author, you can still join our Facebook group and just talk to other people. Come to our write-ins. Talk to other people who are just as creative as you are.
How many writers do we have in the audience today?
A few.
More than I thought.
Yeah.
I knew Kayla. She's a part of the guild, but that's all I really knew.
Let's talk about our anthologies. So the group as a whole, we've tried to do an anthology every year. Been a group since 2019, so we've done about 2 so far. The first one is called A Nightmare's Testimony, and this is a collection of scary stories. Sometimes they can be kind of creepy, but they are awesome and they are scary. They're the kind of book that you want to read before bed or not, maybe.
one of my favorite stories from that is the cannibalism story, by the way.
The next one that we've done is called the Mythology Anthology. Do you like that name, Mythology Anthology? Yeah. It is a collection of short stories about myths, the same myths that we've all grown up knowing about, but each author has a different take on it.
We also have some collaborative works that we're working on with local artists. Both of those popped up there right away. The first one is the Art of Writing, which is a traveling art show that is being funded by Dakota West Arts Council and hosted by North Dakota Arts Gallery Association. We decided to come up with this because what better way to show the written word than visual art? So we paired artists and writers together to base an original piece on already established pieces from the other person, whether it was an artist or a writer. We are starting our first gallery in September. It's going to be in Williston at the James Memorial Arts Center. It'll be hung September 1st through September 30th, and we will be having our opening September 17th, starting at 7. So if you guys are in the Williston area, come check it out. I think it's going to be a great piece, and I'm excited to see it hung. The other part we got going on right now is the Starving Artist Zine Project. This is a project that we're pairing together with painter Nicole and Ben Brick, and they're going to be featured in Meadowlark Mercantile's vending machines. There's going to be these small zines for purchase at a venue in Fargo and a venue here in Bismarck, because there are a lot of illustrators that are in Fargo, so we wanted to have them in both areas. But the first one is going to be kind of like A Nightmare's Testimony, spooky stories. And again, this was a way for artists or illustrators and writers to pair together, where the illustrator would create the cover art for the story. We are looking to get vendors for this, or I'm sorry, not vendors, sponsors for this as well, and just have a good time. We're going to have an opening the beginning of October, and that venue will be announced as soon as we have one. All right, we also attend local events. Some of those events are book signings. We also go to Comic-Cons to preach the word of the BisMan Writers Guild. We've done some speaking other places. Michelle has actually gone in. You didn't go to the schools, you did it via Zoom, right?
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID. But she taught some creative writing classes for elementary school students, and I think that went really well. We're trying to continue to do that through reaching out to high schools, colleges, and libraries just to spread the word that we're looking for the younger generation. Unfortunately, in the digital age, I say this quite often, we're losing the arts, and I think this is a great way to keep the arts in the schools. One thing at events that I always hear is, they say, I'm a writer, but I'm not published. Or I ask, are you a writer? Well, kind of, but I've never published anything. Well, that's why it's the BisMan Writers Guild, not the BisMan Authors Guild. We're looking to help people advance their writing and not to just zone in on authors, because there's a lot of people that write just to write. There are people that write that want to be published that don't know how, and the Guild is a great way to find out how to do that, because we have published authors from indie, tradition, and hybrid. So I think we've really established a good community. We've got future project ideas that we're tossing about in the director or the board. We're going to be working on towards getting a members newsletter to include a writer spotlight, a poem or fiction, and then upcoming events. Just another way for us to communicate with our community outside of just the meetings, outside of just the Facebook group.
We're going to be starting a YouTube channel eventually. I would like to do, for the YouTube channel, we're going to do a Reader's Corner. This is going to be targeted towards readers who are looking for their next favorite novel. And we're going to have indie authors on there, and they're going to be talking about their books, because they can tell you things that you're not going to find in a quick keyword search. They can tell you how they describe things, how great their descriptions are, what sort of things that they like, because who knows their book better than the person who wrote it? We would also like to do a writer's corner where writers can talk about their writing process, their marketing process, their self-publishing process. And then we're also going to put on the author interviews that we do for our newsletters, the author spotlight interviews. We'll record those and put those on the YouTube channel as well.
We're going to be looking into adding mini libraries. We have the small little libraries throughout Bismarck and Mandan. We want to add more with emphasis on North Dakota authors' books. And I think this will be a great way for our community to reach out to the general community and show the talent that we have here in North Dakota.
We're going to do a writers' conference eventually in Bismarck, and this will be a great way for people to meet each other, look at vendors, maybe have illustrators there to talk to writers, potential cover illustrators. This would be a great place for more workshops, and this would be for writers all throughout North Dakota. This wouldn't be just for the BisMan Writers Guild.
It's like I'm psychic. It's just popping up there without me even pushing the button. We're also looking at doing a writer's retreat. It's something that I've wanted here in Bismarck because as a writer, the best way to write is to just get away from it all. And, you know, I work a 9 to 5. I have other hobbies that I have. And just to get away, disconnect, I think it would work great for writers to just escape and just be able to just write.
We also want to do a bookmobile eventually. So this would be a public library, basically. We would lend out books, but all the books would be from North Dakota authors. And it would be a van, and we would drive it to places where somebody might not have access to a local public library.
All right, something I wanted to bring up at the end here. We'll have our contact information up here, but I wanted to express how being a part of the BisMan Writers Guild has helped me so much as a writer. Even though I was the one that created it, I always have a hard time just writing, sitting down to write. And the guild has helped me in the aspect of having the courage to write. We've got the zine project, which I will have a couple of pieces in that. We've got the anthologies. I have a couple pieces in those. I have my books. And talking to people, finding out what they do, where I'm getting stuff wrong, I think that is the best part of my community, is just hearing people and learning from people. Michelle, I don't know if you feel the same, but...
Yes, absolutely. This group has helped me so much. Before this group, I've been a published author since 2014, and I've been writing poetry and stuff since I was 14, so... But yeah, I didn't join this group, obviously, until 2019, and I have learned so much, even in just these last 3 years.
But there's our contact info. If you want to join the guild, Facebook group is usually where we meet. You can join on the website as well. It's not as well utilized as the Facebook group is if you're not a part of Facebook. That's why we created the website for them. And then if you have any questions as to why should I join, what is the BisMan Writers Guild about, our email is bismanwritersguild@gmail.com.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, you guys just take a seat. We got our mic runner. We switched it up. Okay. Before you ask your question, tell us what you're reading, if you feel so inclined. If it's something weird, still tell us. But just for a little fun, I want to know what you guys are into. Okay. Also, you can use hashtag 1MCND again if you're really shy, or you just don't like the sound of your voice. I don't know. That's your problem, okay? So, is that me?
No, me.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay, all right. Well, first I want to say, how did you start by finding each other, like, out in the wild? Because writing by nature is very solitary.
I had actually talked about, I don't remember what, it was a Facebook post, and I had mentioned that one of my novels won an award or whatever, and then he responded to it, and he's like, "Hey, I'm making a writing group.
Yeah,
Do you want to join?"
yeah. That's
The rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's where I was trying to sniff each other out. We're like, you smell like a noun.
Well, I met Bill and Clayton at the first BizCon I attended, and I was talking to them. I'm like, oh my God, there's somebody that writes in my genre in Bismarck, North Dakota. All I could ever find is picture books and nonfiction, and I'm like, this is huge.
Yeah.
So I talked to them about it quite extensively, about starting a group, if they would be interested, and they're like, yeah, sure. So starting out, it was just myself, Bill, Clayton, a couple friends, and a family member outside of North Dakota. And then the word just kind of boomed from there. We were getting to events, and just like Michelle said, I was kind of on the search on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, just trying to find like-minded people. You are right. Writers are introverts and really do not want to communicate with each other. But so far, it's been amazing. I think people have really come out of their shells and started to realize that our vice president always likes to say it's kind of like our version of Alcoholics Anonymous.
When you join the guild, is there some kind of like initiation? There should be an initiation.
There's a hazing,
Okay.
but
Mild.
it's really quick.
Mild, great. Johnny.
So we're supposed to start by telling you what we're reading?
Yeah, what's in your...
So right now I'm trying to make myself read nonfiction, which is like snooze.
Yeah.
So when I read what I want to read, I met an author at a Star Trek convention, and I've read all of his works. It's the Earthman Jack series. So if you like 15-year-old boys having adventures and saving the universe, it's pretty cool. But okay, so my questions though are a couple. Is there a fee to join, and then is there a fee to attend the workshops? And then are the workshops available for the Gen Pop, or do you have to be a member?
You have to be a member for the workshops. I'll let Justin answer the rest of them.
As of right now, we're not charging any fees. We're funded mostly through grants. We are a charitable organization, so we do take donations as well. But we're trying to uplift our writers, and I don't feel right charging them in order for them to do that.
We got to get you some creative nonfiction. That like cradle to death thing. We don't need that anymore. We'll find you something good.
Great job, guys, on your presentation. So glad that you built the guild. This is fantastic for North Dakota and our area. So I, unlike Janya, you mostly read nonfiction. So we're gonna fight.
Fight.
So a couple of questions for you guys. One, the first one is random. Michelle, what science do you study?
Okay, I'm a medical laboratory scientist. So I'm ASCP certified in immunology, chemistry, microbiology, and immunohematology.
Overachiever.
That's fantastic. And,
Thank you.
And this is a question for both of you. Justin, you just mentioned that your friend Bill doesn't live in North Dakota, or didn't?
Bill lives in Mandan.
Oh, he lives in Mandan.
Yeah, I
Okay.
had some friends that lived outside of North Dakota that joined the guild originally,
Okay.
and my cousin Eric had joined. He lives in Cleveland, Ohio. But after becoming nonprofit, the board had decided that we were going to eliminate the non-North Dakota writers and just keep it local.
Okay, that was my question. Good job.
Hello, Writers Guild.
Hello.
So I'm just finishing up David Sedaris' journals, which is utterly ridiculous, and I started his When Engulfed in Flames. And this morning I started local author Sue Skalicki's Change for a Penny with the Humanities Council. So that's what I'm reading. I am very boring. I do not read any fiction, and when I got Justin's anthology, I had to ask him which one would scare me less. So I got the one without the cannibal eating Santas. My question is, as an imposter writer with 3 little kids, when do we get to go on the retreat?
We're working on it. The biggest thing is planning. And I can honestly say I have not been the best planner since we started the guild. We're working on that to make it better. So we would need a venue. We would need to figure out for a writer's retreat if we're going to charge or if we're going to keep that free as well, funding, all that great stuff. But as soon as we know, we will be letting our members know, we will be letting the general public know, and have that option out there on our social medias.
I'm a mom too, and so I know the struggle of, you can't get a babysitter every single day for every single thing you want to go to, and it's wonderful to have things that are child friendly. If that can happen, I would love to make that happen.
I love David Sedaris. I went to a reading of his in Fargo, and I had my jacket with all the buttons. He's like, "You're a button nut," and he pulled out this box, and he had a little button, and I don't know what it says. It's like in Ukrainian or something, and he's like, "This is for you." I died. I'm a ghost right now. That's why the clicker's not working. It's sensing something. I don't know. Done.
That story makes me super jealous.
I know.
I saw David Sedaris here at the Bell, and he did not give me a button. But we did talk about beer buns at the Peacock Alley.
Okay.
Where's
That's
that?
that's close.
As far as the retreat, in any advice as an event planner, I do suggest that you charge some fee, even if it's a small fee, to help cover whatever cost you may have, and snacks. Everybody loves snacks so much. And just an idea to toss out there, Whitney Nielsen's Cookie House, maybe as a location. Perhaps you guys already thought of that. But anyhow, that's something to consider.
Whitney actually designed our logo as well.
It's like we live in a small town or something. Everybody knows everybody.
She's my cousin.
Okay.
That's as small as you
Small.
can get right
Yeah,
there.
no, that sounds right. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not a writer, but I am an avid reader, cranking through books. So I've been like sitting here going, oh, I want to buy that, and I want to buy that, and I want to buy that. So I do want to read about demonic Santas and cannibals and all of that. Where's the best place to learn where I can get all of the various books that you've been showing today and the North Dakota authors? What's my best source?
You could go to the website for the anthologies, but we also have them down at Nodakian Studios when she has her pop-up shows. Both the Mythology Anthology and the Nightmare's Testimonies down there. Both of my books are down there. We have several books by local authors at Comic Realms, and the Nightmare's Testimony is there as well. Ferguson Books carries a lot of the local authors, and it's harder to get into Barnes & Noble, but I do know that several of our local authors have books there too.
Me and Nick both have our books in Barnes & Noble.
You guys should have like a Pride of Dakota type of stamp and be like, "This is a member of the guild."
That's actually not a bad idea.
Listen, sometimes
Yeah.
it's rare, but they'll come to me.
One of my ideas is to have an award from the
Ooh,
guild
yeah.
for local authors.
I kind of love this idea of like accessibility, like you talked about. This art form is, it's harder to get people more engaged and kind of like working with our hands and like expressing that creativity. So talking about the many libraries, which when I was working for the census, I've had so many jobs, but they kind of track you on the phone, but there's all these mini libraries around. And of course I would stop to sniff because that's where you find the good stuff. And so I'm like, oh my God, I got to go so fast, otherwise they're going to yell at me.
You literally sniff out the good books.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do. With all of your microbiology, you should tell me what is in some of these pages.
You don't want to know.
Okay, great. Exactly. That's a story for later. I'll tell you later. Okay. But yeah, so the mini libraries, the bookmobile, the vending machine idea. I mean, just talking about ways we can expose people and get like books in their hands and things. So I don't know, maybe you can speak on that and like why you're working so hard to find these other niches that aren't necessarily, a bookstore or the regular venue we'd find.
Things get drowned out in bookstores. They put the big name authors out front oftentimes, which is not always a bad thing. But as somebody who has read indie books, there are some that are better than the big name ones. Like there really are. And I think that goes with anything. There's indie music that's better than the stuff you hear on the radio. There's indie books that are better than the stuff that you're going to find front and center in a bookstore.
to add on to that, there are people in this community and many communities that can't even afford food, let alone be able to read a book. So I think that is a great way to reach out to the all parts of our community, not just the people that can actually buy the books, to have our talent out there.
I was just going to say, support your libraries too.
Hello, I'm reading Theodore Roosevelt's Letters to His Children. I'm not from North Dakota, so I feel like I gotta somehow get closer to this place.
Speak softly and carry a breadstick. He didn't say that. I said that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Have you considered ways of getting the wider popular, or, I mean, obviously you're getting people involved, but do you do like book clubs together to get, I mean, just encourage readership, or, I mean, is there anything that you do in that capacity, or do you strictly work with your writers?
You're asking if we do anything to look for readers and encourage readers? I think the YouTube channel is probably the first step towards that. You know? I don't know, I can't think of anything, unless there's something that's slipping my mind.
There's been talk of some of our writers wanting to have a book club incorporated with the Writers Guild. That is a completely separate side of it, and as a writer, I'm not as much of a reader as I used to be. So, if there would be a book group that wants to join and read local authors, I would love to pair with somebody. If we have people in the guild that would want to start that, I would totally support it. But as a whole, not as of yet. We haven't really done anything like that. I think the easiest way we connect with readers is by, like I had said earlier, going to events and just talking to them, talking about our books, talking about other people's books. Because there are authors outside of North Dakota that come to like ValleyCon in Fargo, and sometimes I've read their stuff, sometimes not, and it's just a good way as a conversation piece too.
I think it'd be really cool to see some public readings too. It's like really hard for writers to share their work, and sometimes sharing it out loud is extremely hard, but when I was in grad school in England, like we'd always go to these readings, and I don't like poetry. I'm like, I don't get it. But like once you hear the poet's cadence and how they like frame it, it was like, okay, now I kind of get this. And so to expose yourself to different genres and hear the voice that the author intends is kind of a cool way to break that barrier.
We've done that at the anthology release parties
Have
too.
you? I gotta start going. Just this is my thing. Is like I'm part of it, but it's like I'm not gonna leave my house because I'm yeah.
I am also going to plug somebody else who is a part of the guild. Sam Wolf does Rogue Fairy Theater in Mandan at Thomas and Moriarty's. And I know Big Nick has done some readings of his pieces there. Jamie Glanville, who's a member, has done readings of poems there. So there's an open mic night out there. Mm-hmm. I would love to have one associated with the guild specifically. Again, a project for a future time. But there are ways for us to get our word out there. It's hard to search.
Yeah.
And I do try to share their posts when and where I can on our social media pages, because I think that's one of the best ways to get the word out there for sure.
We've talked about one MC at night. We'll do like an evening thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, some more questions for you guys. Have you been able to utilize Humanities North Dakota in doing any kind of partnering or collaborations with them yet?
I've talked to them. I haven't set anything up with them yet, but yeah, we have communicated, and it is on my list of to-do list.
I know COVID pretty much put a lot of their in-person events on the back burner, but that would be fantastic. Are they able to help share your information as well? Do you know?
Yeah, they've reached out. When in the whole email, because I think originally I was trying to talk to them about grants, and they said, oh yeah, we've got a bunch of grants, but we'd also love to pair with you guys. If you have workshops that you think we would be interested in, definitely reach out to us, let us know. We would absolutely love to share all of your information. Actually, I had forgot about that part, so I better get on that. But Yeah, I mean, we have communicated with several art organizations throughout North Dakota to try and get the word out.
Fantastic. And you also mentioned a couple of the locations to get your books, Comic Realms and Nodakian Studios. Can you just let people know? I happen to know where both of these locations are, but can you let the people in the audience and listening know where those are?
Yeah. Nodakian Studios is at 2107 East Rosser Avenue. Comic Realms, I can't remember the exact address, but they're on Mandan. What is it? 200 West Main. I always get on to Mandan Avenue downtown, and it's right there on the corner. But both of those places have been great to us, and I think that just spreading the word has been amazing.
Go ahead.
I just picked up Mandy Anderson's Dangerous Hope book. I just started last weekend, so I'm looking forward to that local author. Question about your membership. Where are you at now in terms of membership? What is that ramp looking like? And what are your goals? What do you think you can do with this thing?
How many do we have now? 100 and what?
Well, we started out with 5. And in 2 years, we've gone up to 167 members.
That's what it is.
Not all always active, but we do get communication from various members. What I want to see from here, I would love to see all writers from North Dakota as part of the BisMan Writers Guild. The biggest thing is getting the communication and information out there for people to realize that they're not alone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you bring in new folk? Like the imposter thing is the hardest part. I mean, so encouraging people that you don't have like an agenda. You're just like, we just want to build a community. Is there a certain soft voice you have to use, or you just like make yourself available? When you start seeing people become more interactive?
I just put Michelle's face on everything.
Okay, yeah.
Come join the BisMan Writers Guild.
You got to know the name of the group first before you can advertise.
Right.
Okay, I seem to have all the questions, but anyway.
Dawn, we love a curious mind.
Thanks. It is an oddly curious mind. So, with your board makeup, I noticed that you have a really good representation of a lot of different genres across your board. Is that something that you did on purpose, or is that something that was a happy accident?
I think it was a happy accident. Originally, it was myself, Michelle, Nick. Shelly was our treasurer, and then we had Emily Bagashnik as our secretary. Again, all separate genres, even somebody who is an artist as a part of our board. But I went with people that I trusted and I knew, not necessarily the genre that they wrote.
Speaking to that, with all the different genres out there and bringing people together with workshops, how do you kind of handle that if everybody is kind of sticking to their different thing, or do you just kind of go about it like, we all need a little dialogue and scene, let's work on that?
I yell at them.
Okay, yeah, no, that sounds right.
No, I like to
Snacks.
we like to look at elements of writing in all genres and think about what would be beneficial to writers, like what's something that somebody might want to learn about, what's an area that they'd be interested in. And so that's why we do so many different types of workshops, even script writing to poetry, everything. And then of course even the basics, and then we do the advanced stuff. We do the basics of, of like story structure, how to write a story, how to write a poem, everything, all the way up to you're published, here's how you market, and everything in between.
Excellent.
And I wanted to add to that. Most writers know how to write, or they at least think they know how to write. But this is a way for people to learn what they're doing wrong. One thing we have not done, so I'll bring it up to you now, we haven't done a nonfiction.
We have not done a nonfiction. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a workshop on writing like memoirs and autobiographies and things. Okay. I'm
you
on
all
it.
have a story to tell. That's because that's what we were talking a lot about when I was in my courses. We get a lot of perspective from East Coast, West Coast. Nobody knows what's going on in the Midwest, really.
I didn't even realize people lived out here until I moved out.
Yeah, we're very secretive, except for Teddy and Laura Ingalls. They're like, who are you guys?
So I'm feeling like we need a little audience participation. What do you think?
Maybe.
I'm thinking, talking about all these genres.
Yeah.
Should we poll the audience about, we've got this battle going on, right? Fiction, nonfiction.
We do,
And then
we
maybe
do.
we could expose like within those.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. Okay. Who here is into poetry? Oh, I see one in the back. Yeah. Okay. What else do we got? What other
Science fiction?
science fiction? Right here. Oh, there's
Popular one.
God. They're so enthusiastic all the time. It's like you're kind of like more optimistic than like other people. Yeah.
How about romance? Who's into romance? Romance novels. Nobody.
They're
No women into romance
What?
novels
They're
out
not.
here?
They're not gonna admit it.
They're just not gonna raise
This
their
is
hand.
what I was gonna tell you earlier. They did.
Okay, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you.
They did like this thing about like what book has the most germs, and it was definitely like 50 Shades of Grey in the library. Yeah. What else do we got?
Fantasy?
Fantasy. We got some unicorns and centaurs and stuff. Okay. When was the last thing you read? Was it like Harry Potter? Yeah.
The last fantasy book people have read.
Yeah. What's good? Ooh. Oh. I was just gonna go off about a book cover that I found, but no, don't worry about it.
I do
Library
have to
book
say, if
sale.
you like epic fantasy, William Heinzen is his full name, has The Warrior Light and City of Darkness. Both books are like 10,000 pages long, but he's a great writer. He does very well with imagery and building the world. And so I just wanted to pitch that author out there because he has been a huge supporter for me and a sounding board for me since I started the guild.
History? Anybody really get into the Hamilton thing? Anyone? History? Yeah.
How about historical fiction?
Ooh, yeah. You're so good at this.
Outlander, anybody?
Yeah.
Historical fiction.
There's an amazing historical fiction by, do you know Paulette Bollinger? She's from Bismarck.
The name sounds familiar. I don't know if I've met her.
Something Nothing Hidden. And
Okay.
it was an unsolved murder in the Bismarck area.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
I
that
met
one?
her at the North Dakota Libraries Association.
It's a great historical
years
fiction.
ago.
Yeah,
And she was a part of the author panel, too.
Yep. She is up here. True crime. Hey, there's got to be some true crime people in here. Yeah, I see you.
There they are, a couple people.
Yeah. Okay, well, the rest of you being secretive. People Magazine. I know you want.
Journalists. You know, that's another workshop we got to do. Journal writing.
Yeah.
Journalists.
We have the visual journaling
do have the
that
visual
Jennifer did.
Workshop. That's true. Okay, so we've touched on that, but
I mean, that's a different type of journaling, but it's a way for writers to get outside of their heads when they get writer's block. And I thought it was an awesome concept. And Shelley had even suggested that we start a visual journaling group within the BisMan Writers Guild as a way to not only bring out your stories, but bring out art as well.
Getting out of that comfort zone. It's hard, but it's totally worth it.
well, and it works too. It helps you like think of it, like say if you're writing a book, you know, and then so Jennifer was teaching the visual writing workshop or visual journaling workshop, and it's where you like, I don't know, you can like scrapbook or do some form of art, and you like think about your characters or your story, and then it really makes you think about it in a different way and kind of like breaks through that writer's block.
It helped me visualize the antagonist in the story that I'm working on now.
I love this. This is super nerdy. I love this. We always ask the same last question of our folks. Nope, I went too fast. Nope, we're there. Okay, all right, go for it.
Okay, Justin and Michelle, thank you so much for being here. This is really, I know of a good friend that is a writer, and you're going to have a new member very soon, I think, just hearing this, and I'll share this video with him too. So thank you for being here, and I guess the last question we'd like to ask is, what can we, the Bismarck Mandan 1 Million Cups community, do to help BisMan Writers Guild be more successful?
Buy self-published books and support indie authors because they're great.
Also, we would love for you to spread the word to any writers in your family, friends, circles. Like I had mentioned earlier, we are a charitable donation, so any donations would be greatly appreciated. We do try and get as much funding as possible so we can continue to offer these things for our members. And yeah, I mean, to voice the same opinion, local authors and indie authors especially, because indie authors tend to work harder than the traditionally published types, even though traditional publishing has kind of changed a little bit since 30, 40 years ago. But I think that independent people are, they do the hard work and they do all the work. So I do agree with Michelle.
And it's growing too. Like there's, you know, the indie publishing community is growing a lot faster than the traditional publishing nowadays.
Well, everybody help me thank Justin and Michelle and the BisMan Writers Guild. I did this for the author panel too. I ended with a quote. So we have John Updike. What art offers is space, a certain breathing room for the spirit. Speaking of spirits, okay. Our upcoming events, we have our distillery panel. If you want to read more, Olivia Lang, The Trip to Echo Spring, Creative Nonfiction, is a book on writers and drinking. So she follows the path of writers who tend to drink. She stopped at one of my classes in grad school. She's a British author, but she took the Amtrak and she stopped in Minot. So she did not remember this. I was like, do you remember where the station is? Like really small. And she's like, no. I tried to find a book to go with our consulting panel, September 8th. I couldn't think of anything. Maybe my thesaurus. I don't know. Anyone think of anything? No? Okay. Well, you should come to these, and then we will think of something together. If you would like to present, you can apply online at 1 Million Cups, blah, 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 and we want to see you on stage. Did you have one more thought?
I'm not smelling your books.
Okay. Some of you should, because it is a trip. Okay. Thank you.